Beth, you
Do
are
it.
on mute.
I'm
There you
on
go.
You were on mute there for the first few seconds.
I'm telling you right now, I have loaded and reloaded these timers so many times. I'm just going to have to build a whole new timer. So
Yeah.
frustrating. Maybe I shouldn't speak. No. That's
Oh,
my
dear.
No
sign.
worries, no worries. Hey, it's good to get the tech issues out of the way early. That
Oh,
way,
yeah.
the rest of the show will go fine.
There we go.
No, there you go. Exactly.
Well, welcome back to Thrive Live, everybody. Again, our timer hates me, but we have Heather Simmons with us today. Hi, Heather. How are you?
I'm great. I love watching the show every week and so excited that I get the chance to join today.
So Heather is a people partner with Thrive HR, and she is like a jack of all trades. She does all the stuff that needs done, including now being on the show. We're
Yeah,
adding that to your
exactly.
task list, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Um,
no, so true. Heather does a great job. She supports one of our long-term customers,
Mhm.
Locked In Logistics, and helps them with all of their, you know, day-to-day HR support, along with, she's on a couple of other, really, really important projects for us. So, Heather's a great part of the team.
Absolutely. We love to have you. And Jason's out today. Jason's doing, client stuff, right?
Exactly. Yeah, he's hosting some folks at a golf tournament in beautiful Austin, Texas.
Yep. Couldn't hate it. The Dell Open. I'm
Yeah,
actually supposed to be working that, by the way, so that you
yeah.
know. Yeah, yeah. I was supposed to work actually all week through the weekend, but I have a big birthday coming up this weekend, so my husband has a surprise getaway for us. So
There you go.
Oh, happy
Awesome,
birthday.
awesome. Yeah, yeah. Happy,
big half
early
century.
birthday. There you go. All right.
In my
Yeah.
childhood, I thought that 50 was so old that I'd be like retired in a rocking chair at this point. So, I mean, I have a rocking chair. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah,
That's from the bay when you had babies,
yeah,
I'm sure.
yeah. That's right. Uh,
So, today we're talking about the global banking crisis and how it can affect the workforce, the day to day of a corporation, of a company, and what from our perspective, from your experience, Heather and Ray, really needs to be done in order for companies to instill confidence in their workforce. So, Ray, we're going to kick it off with you. We talked a little bit
yeah,
previously.
yeah. And it's interesting with Silicon Valley Bank. It is the bank for anybody in the tech industry.
Mhm.
All of the private equity firms, basically tell all their portfolio companies, you go bank there. That's where you go.
Mhm.
So, what happened with Silicon Valley Bank, I think, is just um, unfortunately, just kind of a lot of things kind of converged at one time, and basically, took the bank under, and the biggest issue was, you know, that they took a lot of their assets, and they basically put them in treasury bonds when they were still, at 2 or 3%,
Mhm.
which generally speaking would be a great, safe move, right?
Right.
Uh, but now when they need money, they've got to, go, to the Fed and get money at 4.5 or 5%.
Right.
Uh, that spread is a problem. And when
Yeah.
uh, customers started thinking, that, hey, this could be a problem for this bank, and will it survive? um, you know, they had to run. So in all of their, customers started pulling money out.
Right.
Um, at the same time, the bank said, okay, no problem. We'll go and borrow another, couple of $1 billion using our equity. Well, guess what? With the lack of confidence in the bank, the run on the bank, their stock price dropped to almost zero from
Mhm.
$150. So guess what? Now you know, they can't sell equity to
Right.
cover their withdrawals. Perfect storm. They basically had to get taken over, by the FDIC, and
Mhm.
so and the interesting part is, attended a meeting yesterday with one of the chief economists at JP Morgan.
Mhm.
And basically what he said was, banking, it's all about confidence.
Right.
It's
Yep.
about um, consumers having confidence in the banks. It's about the general population having confidence and investors having confidence in
Mhm.
banks. Uh, Irregardless of how they invest and where their money is, whether it's risky or not, that's the biggest challenge is having confidence in the system.
Mhm.
And I think what we saw over the last week is, you know, some banks being acquired, some banks, being sold off in pieces, to other banks that are
Mhm.
much more stable. You saw another bank in New York that went under, and that was primarily because they were over invested in cryptocurrency, which
Mhm.
now is, has very low value. So,
Right.
um, yeah, so all the things that I'm reading is, we think that the banking issues kind of have been abated, have been addressed, and we should be fine as an organization. And there still may be, you know, uh, companies or banks that are not doing well, but it's going to be, kind of one off versus kind of the entire system.
Right.
Uh, and I think that's kind of the important thing here for a lot of us that are kind of having to
Mhm.
work in this area. Um, and one of our clients, uh, had all of their money at Silicon Valley Bank. And I had
Wow.
a meeting with them, last week, and he basically said, "Look, I mean, we were one of the ones that were going to take money out, and we basically got we couldn't because we were too late to the game.
Mhm.
So they basically had no access to their funds for a day and maybe a weekend, but they
Wow.
were able to get access to the funds the following Monday
Mhm.
after the FDIC took over. So I think for most in depositors, it became a non-issue just because of the insurance that was there. So
Right.
uh, different topic if you were an investor. I think here in
Right.
Denver, I think the state pension had a lot of money invested in that bank.
Really?
See, yeah, the Colorado Pension Fund. So there are going to be some losses, because of that, and that's the other challenge because generally, you know, banks are good investments for your pension funds and retirement
Mhm.
funds,
Mhm.
and that could be a problem in the future. But yeah, lots of challenges, uh, but I think it all comes down to confidence, in the system.
I was going to say the one thing that you touched on that really stood out to me is confidence, and we've talked about it before with other scenarios and other situations, and the this sort of cyclical way that all of business, it used to be mostly
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
oil and gas was kind of super cyclical,
Yeah.
and then we
Right.
had a few other industries sort of, but now I feel like it's most industries these days really are flip-flopping one way or the other, within like this past 5-year period or so. We've had so many things happen within the world that are changing, the way that we do business, the way that we, interact in business. Everything is turning global these days. And confidence, I think, is the one thing that really keeps companies going. And we were
Yep.
talking about different ways that we can instill confidence, that you guys are helping your clients instill confidence in their companies. Talk a little on that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the things that we really think is very important, is that there is a kind of business continuity plan in place for
Right.
an organization. We're helping one of our clients now, draft a policy and a process around business continuity in case of a natural disaster or other kind of an issue. So I think, thinking about that proactively is really, really important. Uh, Along with business continuity, you need to have a crisis management plan
Mhm.
so that if something does happen, you've already thought about it and you've already got an action plan in place of, hey, if this happens, here's how we react. And
Mhm.
you're not basically, kind of doing it off the cuff, which is always bad. It will always end up in a bad, in bad decisions.
Especially, let me interrupt you real quick on that. And
Yeah.
as far as a crisis management plan goes, in my experience, crisis management plans, it's not something that can be done if you haven't done it before, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
That's something
Right.
so specific, right, Heather? That you
Right.
need to have somebody who has the experience, has the know-how to put this together, who's already been through something like this and thought through the what ifs, what ifs, what ifs, what ifs, because there are so many odd what ifs in a crisis management plan that have to be pulled together.
Hmm.
That having someone with that experience really, I think, is absolutely critical. What's your experience on that, Heather?
No, and I agree. It's I think no different than anything else you do. You would not hire let's say that's extreme, but a cashier to be a CFO. They never been through that
Right.
scenario and that circumstance. And I think that Ray, in our previous discussion, I'm sure he can go through that. Walking through those what ifs, and it's
Mhm.
if this happens, then this, and then that, and then this, and having a subject matter expert is critical on something so critical, right? It's very important to have the right leadership, the right person in place, whether it's internal or external. It has to be done the right way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So
Yeah.
sorry, Ray, I didn't
Yeah.
mean to interrupt you on
No,
that,
no,
but
that's
I just
no,
thought
that's
that was
perfect.
something we
No,
have
no,
to
that's
sit on
perfect.
for a minute.
No, and I think that's the key is, one of our, right now, one of our potential clients has asked us to put together, uh, you know, an overall plan to build out a manufacturing operation for 1,100 employees,
Mhm.
and one of the things that is included in our proposal is a risk assessment of of what they're planning on doing, and that include, and there are folks out there that kind of think about the worst case scenario all the time. And that's kind of how they're built. And we've
Right.
got folks on our team that are going to be, helping us do that. Uh, but really, kind of having and thinking about that proactively, business continuity, crisis management, and more importantly, the communication around that is
Mhm.
so critical, because you know you've got to make sure that you know who to talk to, who's going to be making decisions, and then have a regular cadence of communication, not only with your employees but with your customers, your
Mhm.
stakeholders, on what is going on, because that's really, that helps instill the confidence that, hey, we know what we're doing. We've kind of been through this before.
Mhm.
We'll address it and we'll move forward. And I think that's the real key. And that's some of the things that folks within our firm have done before in other organizations, and it's really important that we think about those things, and those are some of the things that, I think, Silicon Valley Bank, had problems with. They
Mhm.
didn't have a crisis management plan. They did not have a leader in their risk management area. Uh,
Mhm.
and all of those things will cause a problem, and it'll make things worse in the long run. And I think that's what happened.
When we were talking about Bitcoin a few months ago,
Hmm.
um, I'm sort of having like a flashback to the same points, right? That there were key roles that had not been set in
Yeah.
place before
Hmm.
like, the Bitcoin collapse, before this situation where not having those folks in those key positions and those key roles doing that hard work has shown to be sort of like the oopsie in all of this, right?
Yeah. No, exactly. That's exactly it. And you know, making sure that you are kind of spending the right amount of time and effort in
Mhm.
filling those critical roles is so important. Uh, you know, now we got, two in a row without a risk management leader. Guess what? You had your risk. You had a risk problem, and it got, it became worse.
Mhm.
And I think that's the one of the other things that we've been able to do with some of our clients is help find people that are really good in their industry, around, uh, you know technology risk, as well as business risk, because those
Mhm.
are the things that are really important. And you know, and Yeah, we got a great team that can help get that done quickly and effectively. Uh, so hopefully you can avoid some of these problems in the future.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. I think, and I think bringing in a kind of a third party, bringing in someone like Thrive HR Consulting to help you in all of those things is always
Mhm.
a really good option for companies. Sometimes I know that we sort of get in a role in our own company where we get a little bit more emotionally invested in things. And it's nice to
Mhm.
have that other perspective come in and say, right, let's look at the whole picture. Let's not hyper focus on this one thing. Let's not look at problems. Let's look at solutions, things like that. I've noticed a lot, and a lot of the comments from clients that you guys have had about what a difference seems to make in, the day to day.
No, it's true. And Heather, maybe you can talk a little bit about some of our other our client engagements and some of the feedback that we get from our clients on some of the work that we do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that just like Beth mentioned, it's easy sometimes even to get siloed and narrowed in on something and not be able to look at the big picture and be able to see things from a whole versus your one little spot and being in a bubble. And several of our clients have come back to us and wow, I didn't realize that. I didn't notice that. This was a huge help,
Mhm.
being able to look at all areas and all facets that we didn't think of. And that's certainly, one of the amazing things that we can do, in helping an organization move along, whether it be fractional HR or helping devise policies and procedures or even risk management. It's something that we're good at. And we have a great team that, and each one of, person on our team has a great asset of knowledge to be able to help in those different areas that a company might need help with.
Yeah, and maybe you can talk a little bit about one of our clients had a downturn in business, and
Hmm.
actually they actually came to us first to help them build out a P&L statement because they hadn't been doing that before. So we
Mhm.
help them build out a P&L statement that now they're using every month. Uh, but then they came to us and said, okay, we need to cut cost. What can we do? And what's going to be the impact? And maybe you can talk a little bit about that project, Heather.
Yeah, that we were able to take a full picture look at, um, the different costs, in particular with labor, and do an assessment of where is their spending, where could they cut back, what the impact of that cutback would be, and the total cost savings with a variety of different scenarios, and then we're able to meet with them and have a conversation on you know what would be the best scenario for them going forward, also because the big cost is labor, right? So where do you want to pinch off and where do you want, as it may impact your employees, their uncertainty or confidence in the company. And so through those meetings and that assessment, we were able to come up with a solution that helped the business but impacted their employees the least way possible. And then also following up
Mhm.
with good communications. At the end of the day, this whole scenario with the banking crisis may cause uncertainty across any kind of industry. The important thing is to be open and honest with your employees and have very clear, open communication. And we've implemented those cost savings and things are going well. The employees are happy. They know what's going on. There's nothing being hidden. And it's going very well.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because with this client, you know, I mean, I think we were able to carve out, you know, I think it's almost 10, $15,000 a month in
Right.
savings.
Correct.
In that for a small company, I mean that's a lot of money.
Hmm.
And especially if your clients are starting to cut back, they've got to figure out how to adjust things without impacting their employees as far as their employment. And so so that's a real key. And like Heather said, all of this it looks good on paper, but then you have to execute it and make sure that it
Hmm.
goes through flawlessly so that they can communicate to the employees and the employees know exactly what's going to happen paycheck to paycheck. And
Hmm.
then the leaders know, hey, how come, uh, the cost savings hasn't hit yet. Well, it's because we had to wait 30 days, or
Mhm.
whatever the
Right.
reason is, and but a lot of it comes back to, good planning, good communication, and instilling the confidence in the team that's leading the company, so when we say that we can be strategic advisors to your business, I mean, we really are business advisors, not just HR. I mean, we're helping with strategy and then executing the
Mhm.
strategy, for those
Exactly.
organizations.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
So, if there's anyone out there that wants to get in touch with you, Ray, and talk
Yeah.
to you about your services and how you can help their company, how can they get in touch with you?
It's Ray at Thrive HR Consulting, REY,
Mhm.
or you can go to our website, thrivehrconsulting.com, and there are different ways for you to connect with us there. Very easy, and you know, or send us an email or give us a call. I mean, look for me on LinkedIn. My phone number is available, and we'd love to talk to you and see how we can help.
Or even put a comment in the comment section of the broadcast and we can get back to you as
Exactly,
well.
exactly.
So many
Lots of
ways.
different
You're
ways.
so available.
Very available, very available.
Very
That's
fun.
right.
Well, Heather, thank you so much for being on the show today. I'm sorry that you're not on the golf course with Jason.
Yeah. Hey, it's
I'm
okay.
sorry that we're all not on the golf course with Jason
That's
today.
right, that's right,
That is
that's
a
right.
really nice course, by the way.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I was in Austin last week, and I went over, the bridge, and I looked over, and there's a golf course right on the water. I
yes,
mean,
it's gorgeous.
it's pretty, impressive,
Mhm.
and
It's
of
one of my
course
it's
yeah,
it's one of my favorite courses to work on. I do sports television production, so I do all kinds of sports, and I've been doing a lot of golf. And um, I my husband is from Scotland, and so he's a golfer, right? I mean, not that I mean to stereotype that all Scots play golf, but if you're
Most do.
Scottish, you probably play golf.
yeah,
So he took a few days off work, and I got him a job driving talent around. So he was able to go drive all over the course. He had a
Nice.
great on air, talent that he was working with, and they said, "Hey." Because it's right on the water, right? This
yeah,
golf
yeah,
course, and you can see there's all kinds of boats. There's paddle, the big old paddle boats, that go through.
yeah.
And they said, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool if we could do a live shot from one of the boats?" And I was like, "I'm on it." So I got him a police escort on the police riverboat to take them from the course over to one of the paddle boats, which is like a party boat, right? It's like
Yeah,
a drinking boat, right?
Nice.
So here's my husband, first day ever working television, right? And he gets to go hang out on the boat, while they're doing a live shot. And I'm just like, chop liver. I'm the chop liver. Like he's so spoiled now. He thinks that's what TV work is, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, no, it's a beautiful course, and I can imagine the number of boats that are going to be lined up all
Yeah.
from today through Sunday on
It's
the
beautiful. It's
shores.
great weather. It's
Yeah,
windy though. It's
yeah,
windy.
yeah,
I forgot what hole it
yeah,
was, but there's one hole where you have to like hide behind stuff because those balls just come like zinging at you.
Oh,
So, and the first time I was over at that hole, I didn't realize I was in a cart and it like bounced off my cart. And I was like, that's it.
oh my
I'm
gosh.
leaving. I'm out. I'm going to hide.
Yeah,
yeah.
that would
Yeah,
Cart
freak
path,
me out.
cart path.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
great course. It's a great course. So,
Oh,
Jason, I know you're not watching because you're on the course, but I hope you have a great, great, great week at the Dell
yeah,
Invitational. So,
exactly.
all
All
right,
righty,
guys, we look forward to hearing from anybody who has questions about our subject matter today, and we will catch you next week.
sounds great.
All right.
All right.
Take care,
Thanks a
guys.
lot. Bye,
Bye
guys.
bye.
Bye.
Thanks again for joining us. Please remember to search Thrive HR Consulting on social media and wherever you listen to podcasts. Subscribe, follow, and share to make that connection. To get an invite to our Slack channel, just comment or drop us an email at thrive@thrivehrconsulting.com. See you next time.